Today's lecture is going to be on blade basics. So for right now, we're just going to hit a quick warm-up for the blades. So the first one I'm going to do here, I call this one thumb spinning. So, because you have different ways you can hold the blade. I should probably go over that while we're at it. So you've got, right, just standard right here, like blade up top, sharp edge forward, and then you can rotate to have the sharp edge back. Depending on what kind of cut you're going to do, you might want to be able to do that. You also have kind of the upside down grip right here, you know, with the edge forward, and then sometimes you might want the edge backwards, like this. So depending on what you want to do, the warm-up I'm going over now is just how to move the blade around depending on how you're going to want it. So right here we're just going to start with the blade forward, blade up, and you're just going to push with the thumb and rotate with the fingers to turn it around. And we're going to want our grip with the thumb on the side right here. This right here kind of isn't as stable of a grip as this. Okay. This is much more stable. So right here, boom. I'm just going to hit a thumb spin right here. It's 10 on each side. And then if you have like a real pocket knife, I'm not going to pull the blade out, right? You can practice with a larger, wider. But the idea is just get the movement of rotating the blade around to where you may or may not need it. Yeah, there you go. So you want it right forward. This is how you're going to hold it. You're not going to hold it with the blade sideways. Right, so forward, where I'm going to use the thumb to push and rotate the hand. Thumb push, rotate the hand. Okay, make sure you have, so make sure, right, the blade's forward, right, sharp edge forward, sharp edge backwards. So we don't want to stop when it's sideways. Okay, now the next one is hand switching right here. So you can either come from the bottom or you can come from the top. We'll start coming from the top right here. So look, I'm going to take this opposite hand, is going to come here and pinch and replace. From behind. We don't want it on the sharp side, right? Right? And using a full-size handle right here, right? Same thing. I'm going to grab here, replace, pinch and replace. This is the easy one. Or if I have a full-size one right here, right here, look, boom, pinch and replace. Pinch and replace. And then you can start to get faster. So, right, blade forward. Blade forward. Yeah, there you go, right? This hand, so you're going to make enough space here for this other hand to slide in, pinch and replace. From here, I've still got a firm grip on the blade, so I never lose firm grip, right? It's not like this, you know, right? You don't want, oops, and now you're dead. Got the firm grip on the blade, right? Just drop the thumb enough to create space for the second hand, pinch and replace. Right here, try slapping it out of my hand as I switch. Come on, hit it hard. Right now, if I start going side to side like this, no slap.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing it this way, is there's no point of weakness in the grip when you do it this way. The next one is from the bottom. So you're going to be right here. You're going to open up and come under. Right? Open up and come under. It's not as good, but it's just an option you have. Right. This one's probably better if you have like reverse grip right here. I mean, this one's still good for reverse grip too, depending on how much real estate you have on the knife.
Yeah.
But if you have bigger hands like me and I've got like a smaller knife like this, there might be not as much. So here I might want to open up and replace with this reverse grip.
Yeah.
It's just, it's two ways to do it. My personal one is, yeah, if I'm fighting for real or when I switch, I always come over the top. Okay. But yeah, for this one right here, we're going to open, right, open, and replace. So open, and replace. Yep. So make sure you have a high pinch on here, and then, yeah, you come under. Yeah. And then once you grab it, you can kind of wrestle it and climb right here. Ooh, you know what? This is a new warm-up. I should get a longer handled blade, and yeah, just kind of work on climbing up and down the hill. Like
yeah.
That. It's a hand exercise.
Like that. Yeah.
So that's a new one coming soon. Or I guess right now, you know, we've just seen it. But yeah. So here, open, come under, and then I can work my way back. Flipping of the blade. So right here,
yeah.
I'm going to come down to the bottom, flip it forward, and then you're going to wrap the fingers into a close grip. And that's going to go from up to reverse. Up. So I'm going to drop down, flip forward, roll the fingers into a reverse grip.
Okay.
This is just habit of protecting the face. And then to undo it, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to open, pinch, throw back up. Because the alternative would be something like this, to the side. It's not as good. Come to the bottom, flip forward, and then I'm going to roll the hands into the reverse grip. Then this one right here, you're going to open up, pinch the bottom, flip it back, catch with the finger, standard grip. So yeah, right here, pinch the bottom, flip forward, roll in, and then from here, roll out, pinch, flip up. So with that one, I have the kind of the point at my opponent right here. Okay, I'm going to hit this one, point back to the opponent, point back to the opponent, point back to the opponent. Okay, so see how the point's pointed at them at the end of each iteration. Get the proper orientation here, right? We're going to roll the hands out here, right? We're going to open the hands out here. So that puts the blade back here, and then we just flip it forward. Yep, you're going to flip it forward. Okay, and then we can go back to the thumb spinning too, right? So from this position right here, this downward position, we can do the same thing, right? Using the thumb to spin it into different orientations. So examples of different orientations, right? Right, if I'm attacking you from right here, you know, boom, boom, you know, whatever. So let's say I get behind you, right here. Again, I can kind of go right here, or I could hit a thumb spin right here to get the blade backwards and go that way. Right, so that's where we would orient it is, you know, from a stabbing position, the blade is forward, and then if I want to like cut from behind, I flip the blade backwards, facing me, and push that way, then flip the blade back to attacking position. And then this reverse grip right here, I guess I'll go over that now, because there's always this myth in lots of martial arts that if somebody holds a knife like this, they're an amateur, and if they hold it like this, they're a professional. It's a big load of baloney. I did a lot of research on that. Not a lot of martial arts can give a clear answer, but there's a YouTuber called Snap Jelly who does research on all blades. And this grip comes from the Middle Ages when they would use daggers to pierce armor. Right? So his theory was this would allow you to generate more force than this. With proper technique, you can generate about the same amount of force either way, but what this gives you is more wrist stability. Right, so if I stab right here and let's say it slides down, see how that hurts the wrist? Or if it slides this way or this way, see how much pressure that puts on the wrist? But if I have it right here and it slides this way, that's comfortable. Or if it slides this way, that's comfortable. Or if it slides that way, it's not good, but it's not as bad. And if it slides this way. So there's more stability in the stab this way with the wrist. And especially since there's like bones in the body, a common thing is a like blade will get caught on a bone and the tip will break off. So again, or it'll get stuck. So if I stab and the tip of the blade gets stuck in a bone and it wrenches my wrist like that, I could get hurt, I could lose the blade. But right here, this is much more stable. The odds of me getting an injury on a bad stab is much less. So that's what the reverse grip is for. It's for wrist stability. Now again, you give up a lot of range on cuts with this grip. So this is why I've developed this form, right, we're right here and we're at distance, right? I've got range here with this grip, and let's say I grab you and get in close. You guys didn't even see it. Like I did it super fast, right? But boom, I'm here, and I can start stabbing with this improved wrist stability, and then come back to cut, right? And then here, switch again, wrist stability, switch here, get behind, thumb spin to get the blade backwards, finish. Thumb spin again to get the blade forward and come out. So that's why it's very important. That's why I do these warm-ups. It's very important to be able to maneuver your knife to whatever grip you want within a second's notice, so you can do different things, right? So you can have the range of this standard grip. You can have the kind of rear finishing ability of this reverse grip. And then this is the reverse grip. You've got the stability of the stabbing from the top and forward, but limited range. And then this one, I'm sure there's some fancy stuff you can do there. You can kind of stab in and rip backwards. But the point being is you have all these grips available to you. So that's why it's important to do these warm-ups and practice orienting the blade any way you want it. So yeah, let's go into some basics of short blade. So let's go over the stances. So I've done some research. I've done sparring with the fencing people. So there's some blade stuff on YouTube, not as much as there could be. And there are some martial arts that teach it, but there's not always a lot of sparring. So I've sparred, tried different things that work and whatnot. So this one right here is going to be a defensive grip. And then this right here is going to be an offensive grip. The reason this one is defensive is because the closest point of contact you, the attacker, have is my knife. Right, so I'm using this as a deterrent to keep you away. So if you're trying to go that way, I'm keeping the knife between the two of us to try and deter you, and then if you get too close, right, I can cut you without letting you get, while keeping the most distance for my vital organs away.
Yeah.
Right, or if I cut from here, see how my vital organs get closer to you? Right, so that's why this is defensive. I'm keeping the knife between the two of us. So that's why this is the defensive position, knife in the front hand. What makes this an offensive position is if I want to, let's say, finish you with this position, I have to get a bunch of individual cuts on you. With this position, with the hand forward, I can grab you and then continuously attack you until you're done. So that's what makes it offensive. Defensive, I have to chase you down with a bunch of individual attacks. But offensively, right, I grab you, you can't go anywhere, and I just go to town and finish you off. So that's and the other one too, if you have your own knife, right? I have another lecture where I talk about like grabbing attacks. It's not going to happen on the first one. It's, you know, but I'm going to keep distance, and let's say you try to swing at me, right? I'm going to time this. Okay, so over the course of you trying to cut me like 5 or 6 times, I'm going to pick up your tendency and then time it. Then I can catch. Okay, it's not Steven Seagal or on your very first slash attack, you know. No, it's not going to happen. They're going to come fast, right? But even you, right? If I keep doing this is going to get predictable. I'm like, let's say you slide, right? You block, and then you cut, right? So again, yeah, if I have proper distance, yeah, I can use this to grab the weapon hand and attack. And then here is to just kind of keep you at bay, right? And keep you away from me. And then, yeah, here, right, boom, boom. Okay, so those are the 2 grips I go over. I have some details I do. When I use this defensive grip, I like to do something I call a London shell, right? So I've got this hand here protected, this carotid. I'm going to bring this in tight. So again, for a lot of vital targets you have in here, you've got the carotid arteries and the jugular and the neck and the throat. If this gets cut and you can't breathe and you have blood in your airway, that's not good. You've got the heart. If that lacerates, that can be a quick kill. Lungs. You've got the liver over here. This gets cut. That's a lot of internal bleeding. Solar plexus, xiphoid process. If this gets, what's the diaphragm? If these get severed, your ability to breathe is gone. Spleen is over here. If that gets cut, I think that holds up to 15% of your body's blood. So if the spleen gets ruptured, you're going to bleed out. Kidneys are back here. If those get lacerated, you probably have like a 50-50 chance of dying from pneumonia, even with medical care. Yeah, getting cut in the vital organs is really, really bad. So with the London shell, yeah, I've got this hand protecting my neck. I want to keep this elbow tight to try and protect the liver area. I want to keep this arm in tight. I can have the blade out here a little bit. Sometimes you can get away with this, but yeah, this is kind of my London shell. I'm going to keep everything in here, right? Go to attack, even if he attacks me and gets me, right? See, he's getting me on the arms. This is still not good, but it's better than letting him just get a clean cut to the throat or a clean shot to the right. So I'm going to keep this here. Yeah, I'm probably going to get cut back. Go ahead, cut me back. It's going to happen. You're going to land it, right? That was a little blazing cut, right? But again, I've got these arms here to try and mitigate the quality of the damage I'm going to take. So it's going to be more arm, and again, the arm has arteries, the arm has nerves, the arm has tendon clusters. Getting stabbed and cut in the arms is not good, but it's better than going to stab and then getting stabbed right back in the vital organ. From this position right here, I'm trying to remember what I called this one. But this one I kind of have the hand out here ready to parry and ready to grab. But I kind of keep it, so I keep it at a 45 because the hand has an artery that runs through here. So if I keep it flat and he stabs me clean in the hand, it's going to nick that artery. If I have it at an angle, it decreases the chances of him getting a clean stab on the artery, right? But I'm keeping the hand here kind of centered. That way if he comes from the top, I can parry there. If he comes from the outside, I can parry there. If he comes for a stab, I can parry there. If he goes for the leg, I can parry there. So I'm keeping this hand in this position so I can react to parry. And then again, if he goes to cut the arm, I can move it back. So it's kind of like a cobra stance, I guess. But again, this isn't perfect. You're gonna get cut, but this is giving me the option to respond any direction. Ah, nice, right? Yeah. So that's the defensive stance I like to use right here. Again, the big one is the angle of the hand reduces the odds of a clean stab to the artery in the hand. If I just have it here, I used to do it like this, and then when I sparred with the fencing people, they would consistently get easy shots to the hand, and then when I switched to the angle, they had a much lower chance. So again, yeah, this is kind of like a cobra, ready to move if he goes to attack it, and then yeah, it's ready to grab, if I can grab, or parry. Yeah, realistically, if you're going full speed, I'm not going to be able to grab, I'm just going to be able to parry. Yeah. Right, so that's how that's going to look. And then as far as attacks for knives, you've got pretty much 4 attacks that I have. So you have your slashing attacks. So the important thing about the slashing attack is I don't want to just stay here static and just like a hammer. This isn't a hammer, this is a knife. I want a flick of the wrist. Right, yeah, right here. I want a flick of the wrist. Right, this allows you to have a faster, more accurate cut. And again, this is just, it's slow, it's again, there's no swiftness to the blade, so it's just going to be kind of like a chop. We don't want to do that, we want to flick the wrist. Okay, the second one is the stab. It's a pretty simple motion. We're going to drive with the hips, just like any other strike, right? We're not just putting it out there, right? We're driving into it. An important notation and important practice to get into for stabbing is to stab sideways. Rib cage.
Rib cage. Okay.
So again, if you look at this, right, if I feel here the diameter between my ribs, and you take like this blade right here, or this blade right here, if I stab vertically, if he stabs me vertically on my rib cage, this point is gonna get caught on the ribs. So it's not gonna be a deep penetrating stab. So if I'm going for like the chest or the heart, and I stab vertically like this, it's not gonna go through to the lungs, it's not gonna go through to the heart, it's gonna get caught on the ribs. So we wanna make sure it's horizontal, so it can go through the ribs and go through the lungs. And then of course with the liver, if I stab the liver this way or this way, it doesn't matter. So a good habit is to always do sideways stabs, right? Stabbing the neck this way or this way is the same. So it's with the soft target, going sideways or vertically is going to be the same. And then yes, with the rib cage, if you go vertically, it's not going to go through the rib cage. It's going to get caught unless you have like a really small, I don't want to call it a rapier because the fencing people will kill me for that, but it's like the foil. The little old French thing. Yeah, unless you have like a stiletto or something really tiny. If you have a normal sized blade and you stab vertically, it's going to get caught on the ribs. So we want to make sure we're there. And yeah, with any kind of strike, we're just driving the hips into it. We're getting good rotation on it. We're not just half-assing. We're not leaning into it, right? Losing balance. It's the same principle as throwing a punch, but just the tip on the stab. Make sure you do it sideways. Just get in the habit of that. The third one is kind of more of a lancing attack. So this is a kind of a combination of a stab and a cut. So like a way to do that would be like here on the femoral artery, right? As I'm gonna kind of stab in, or let's say I'm stabbing the quad right here, right? I'm gonna stab in, and then as it gets stuck like in the meat, I know this is gross, I'm gonna lance out. That way the blade slices out. So it's like a stab in and then like a cut out. That's kind of a lancing attack. So, and then the third one is throwing attack. You know, if you can throw the knife. I wouldn't really recommend it just because the odds of like sticking a knife and taking somebody out in one shot is really rare. But in emergencies, if you have a spare knife and you can throw it, you can do that. There's also hilt attacks too. You can hit people with the back of the knife. Some, like this one right here, has a window breaker on the bottom of it, you know, and it totally couldn't like dent in the skull. But yeah, so some knives have these on the bottom. So you do have hilting attacks. You can go here, hammer fist. If you notice, a lot of these movements look like regular strikes, and they're pretty similar. So if you have good basic striking principles, like how to generate force, good footwork, you can apply it to blades. There are some differences, but yes. When you're slicing, we want to flick the wrist. When we're stabbing, we want to be vertical. or horizontal, not vertical. And then, like I said, you have the lancing attack where you stab in. Like if I stab you in the side here, I'm going to lance through. That way it slices open the side. You have throwing options if you've got spare knives and you know how to do that properly. And then you've got your hilt attacks as well. So that's pretty much 5 short blade attacks right there. Again, as far as vital targets go, you've got eyes, you've got the arteries and the jugular, pretty much anywhere in the neck. Don't remember if it's one side, but from the top here, you do have access to the aortas. I forget if it's the left one only or the right one. It could be both. If your blade's long enough, of course, it's both. You've got the heart, you've got the lungs, you've got arteries in here in the armpits. The femoral arteries, mostly in here, but you can get them kind of down here too in the legs. And then you've got, right, I had the liver, the kidneys, the spleen. Spine's a little hard to do. You have to land in between. It's probably not going to happen. And then you also have tendon clusters. So you've got the Achilles, which is a big tendon cluster. But the ones I'm really going to talk about are the ones on the arm. And the reason being is because if we're knife fighting, right, your arm is the thing I have closest access to. So I could try to go in here. You're going to counter, right? If I go in here to stab and you stab me back, we just tied, right? So from here, if I can work at your hand, work at your arm, I can weaken your weapon hand and then work my way into a kill shot. So for the hand, you've got in here, and yeah, if you cut the wrist, that's a lot of bleeding too, but that takes a long time to kill somebody, so it's not going to end the fight. But you have a tendon cluster in here, so if you feel that right there, the tendon cluster here, so see how that moves the hand in. So if these tendons here get severed, they can't bring their hand in, right? Which also affects your ability to hold the blade. And then if you make a fist, you feel the tendons out here on this forearm, these flex too. So again, if you slice these tendons on the outside of the forearm, they can't make a fist anymore and they're gonna drop the blade. And then when they open their hand, you feel the tendons down here flex, right, when they open. Same thing here, if you slice this, they're gonna lose the ability to open their hand. Now, maintaining grip of something is a combination of micro adjustments between gripping and releasing. So I know you might think, well, if they lose the ability to open their hand, they can still hold the knife. Not really, right? Because if you slap it this way, in order for me to readjust, I have to be able to open and close the hand. So if they lose that micro control of being able to keep of opening the hand, they're not going to be able to maintain grip. It's just going to be basically tightness or complete release. They're not going to have an in-between. So if you can attack any one of these 3 tendon clusters with a deep cut on the weapon hand, they're going to drop the weapon, right? So if he goes to get me and I get the tendon cluster and he drops the weapon, now I can finish with a safer kill shot, rather than me just trying to, go directly for the neck. Well, let's say I get the neck, and then he gets me in the solar plexus, and yeah, I kill him immediately, and now I'm going to go bleed out and die. So it's good to remember not just the arteries, not just the vital organs, but tendon clusters. Again, especially, there's tendon clusters in the legs too. I don't know exactly where they all are, but the reason I focus on the arm ones is because, again, if they're holding a weapon, I can target those tendons in a much safer way, right? I'm keeping my vital organs away from him while I target the tendons, and if I can cause him to drop the weapon, then I can finish him unarmed. So those are your targets. So you've got the major vital ones I just talked about. You've got arteries. Veins take a longer to bleed. People can get medical care. If you can land the blade between the vertebrae, yes, you can paralyze and take people out, but it's a hard one I wouldn't count on. But yeah, the tendon clusters is kind of the big one that nobody talks about. And of course the eyes. You stab the eyes, you can get back to the brain, blind your opponent. And then as far as hilt attacks goes, you've got the temples, you've got, top of the head, pretty much anywhere you can hit with an elbow or a knee or something like that. So those are your targets. So yeah, that's your attacks. You've got the flick of the wrist for the cut, the stab, the lance, the throw, hilt attack, vital areas, defensive stance, offensive stance, and then we've got our different grips for different things.